Listener discretion is advised. Her origin story is shrouded in mystery. No one knows exactly when she was born or her name at birth, but it is historically understood that Queen Nanny was born in what is now Ghana, West Africa, around 1686.
Okay.
While it is unclear whether Queen Nanny arrived in Jamaica as a free woman in the late 17th century or arrived there as an enslaved woman, she and her 4 brothers were sold into slavery in Jamaica and sent to work on a plantation. Before long, they escaped the plantation and took to the mountains and jungles of eastern Jamaica or Windward Jamaica. This area was already established by formerly enslaved Africans who had been freed by their Spanish captors when the Brits took Jamaica from Spain in 1655.
So more complicated geopolitical shit.
Mm-hmm.
Well, so then the Spanish captors were probably just like, fuck you, Britain. We're freeing all of our slaves. Like,
Basically,
good luck.
Yes.
Right.
Basically. So when the Brits took over, the Windward Maroons staunchly refused to be taken back into slavery, and the combination of rugged conditions in the area that they'd settled in and their skills as fighters, they were able to maintain their freedom.
Amazing.
With the arrival of liberationist Queen Nanny and her incredible leadership, a portion of the area became known as Nanny Town and continued to grow as a refuge for freed and escaped enslaved Africans.
So she just kind of, through, like you said, her leadership skills, she was just kind of recognized by the community as being a leader.
Oh, she establishes herself as a leader.
Okay.
And she
so
has...
They bestow upon her the title Queen Nanny.
Mm-hmm. I mean, she goes by many iterations of Nanny, but Queen Nanny is like the most popularized one.
Because there's not an actual, like, monarchy in Jamaica. There's no queen.
It was all
was just a
colonized by
nickname.
I mean, technically there is a monarchy because it's all colonized by the British, but not in
true.
Jamaica itself as like their own established government.
Sovereign.
But
Okay.
yeah.
Yeah, it's just a colony at this point.
Gotcha.
So this refuge that they'd settled in was high above and away from English settlements and plantations, and that served, like, the terrain alone served as protection from the attacks of angry white colonists who wanted their quote-unquote property back.
Human property or land property?
That's why I put it in
Human.
quotes.
Human.
Like they're enslaved people.
Yeah. I just wanted to make sure you weren't talking about the actual land that they were occupying.
No, they
Fucked up either way, but like
They
way
can't
more fucked up
cultivate-
as human property.
The more fucked up one.
Right.
Yes.
The Brits were not like skilled enough propagators and farmers to properly cultivate
Like
the
the
terrain
mountains.
that they had settled in. So they
They
didn't
just
give a
wanted the
fuck about the
people.
land. Yes.
Gotcha. Okay.
Yeah.
So, though Queen Nanny was not one to shy away from a fight, she was also a skilled diplomat and settled many disputes through peaceful means, including farming and trade. So, like, she had skills in both and would trade those skills and actual, like, farmed items for peaceful, interaction with her now neighbors, basically. But this did not keep her from successfully raiding nearby plantations and liberating over 1,000 enslaved Africans throughout her reign.
Oh my
Fuck
god.
yes, Queen Nanny.
She's a fucking badass. Oh,
Damn.
She
That's
gets-
amazing.
I am obsessed with her.
How are we not learning about these people in fucking school?
Because all of our systems are
I know.
colonialist, racist bullshit.
I know.
So she was such a successful liberator, in fact, that she pissed off the British, who were deeply embarrassed by being undermined by being
They were
undermined
deeply pregnant.
by a black woman. So the Brits assembled hunting parties who were sent into the unruly Jamaican jungles and mountains to attack Nanny Town.
And be interviewed by Oprah and systematically take down the monarchy.
Yeah. I mean, that's basically Nanny Town's mission. So this attack would turn into all-out war that began in 1720 and lasted 19 years before a truce was finally declared in 1739.
I mean, that sounds like a long time, but how long has the U.S. been in Afghanistan?
20.
No, for sure.
Literally 20.
And it's we're not going to get into the truce itself because that's kind of where the story ends, but it's important to note that like a truce with the British is not great. Like for
ask
these folks,
any native people in the
exactly
for US.
Exactly. So basically, these communities of free Africans were only allowed to live unattacked if they agreed to fight for the British when needed, to not harbor any escaped enslaved Africans, and to even help the British capture escaped enslaved Africans, which I don't think they were like, yeah, sure, okay, we'll do that. And then they like didn't do it.
Which they also did. The Brits did the same thing during the American Revolution.
Yeah. So
They
the truce was fucked.
freed enslaved people if they fought for the Brits.
It's super exploitative where it's like, we'll stop attacking you if,
Yeah.
but we're not going to go down that rabbit hole today. So between 1720 and 1728, the Windward Maroons, and Maroons are like a West African people that now live in Jamaica.
Okay. Because
held
in
down-
French, it means brown.
Sure.
So that might be where it came from.
Could be.
But if it's like a societally acceptable term there, then I'll take it.
Yes. So they held down Nanny Town. It was captured by the British on multiple occasions throughout that like first 8-year stretch of war, but each and every time Queen Nanny led the Maroons back to victory with their skilled combat tactics and understanding of the brutal landscape.
Yeah.
So they were situated adjacent to a ravine with only one road to access the town, and people like soldiers couldn't even stand shoulder to shoulder on that road. They had to go up the road single file.
Oh, yeah. So they were just like, you're not getting in unless we let you.
And they were able to just pick off the Brits.
Yeah.
They were like
as
up
they
on
tried,
a hill.
Yeah,
as they
it's
tried
like
to get up there.
Guerrilla warfare. They're not fucking around. They know.
Quite literally.
Yeah.
They had like a natural fortress almost.
They did.
Yeah.
Which is like exactly why they wanted to settle in that area.
Good strategy. Yeah.
It is. And they were also able to trick the Brits into ambushes and lure them toward hordes of hidden Maroons people who were so skilled, like even up against the better armed and equipped British troops, they were just, the Brits were no fucking match for them. The Brits tried to retaliate with night raids, attempting to kill them as they slept, but many accounts indicate that these raids didn't lead to much bloodshed, with deaths only in the single digits, while they were picking off the Brits by like the hundreds.
Yeah. Oh, floral in spring, revolutionary.
Right? Bright red floral. So Queen Nanny was the mastermind behind the Maroons' military tactics. There were other Maroons communities across Jamaica, and Queen Nanny established a means of long-distance contact that allowed these communities to mobilize and support each other against British invasion. So she did this by crafting horns made from carved cow horn, like literal
Like a
hollowed out
shofar.
cow horn. Yeah.
Beautiful.
And there's like a bunch of really stunning artwork of her, and in almost all of the artwork, she's like clutching her horn.
That's so cool.
And these horns were capable of signaling lookouts with sound that carried over extremely long distances. And the Brits did not have this kind of communication capability and were unfamiliar with the sound and like what it meant. So they weren't able to decipher its meaning, and this gave the Maroons a huge advantage.
Amazing.
They also mastered the art of camouflage. Quote, oral history recounts that Nanny herself would cover her soldiers with branches and leaves, instructing them to stand as still as possible so that they would resemble trees. As the British soldiers approached completely unaware that they were surrounded, they would swiftly be picked off by the Maroons.
Hell yeah.
My God, I love this. Early ghillie suits.
Oh,
Yeah.
yes. But like, it's so intense to
Did
imagine
they-
it.
I don't. Do they have like gunpowder, like guns at this point, or is this like
Oh, yeah, they did.
okay? But did the
Like
Maroons
muskets.
have it?
No.
Well, they probably like confiscated some.
Correct.
From the
They
ones
like
killed.
acquired it, but that was
Yeah.
not.
They didn't have a supplier.
No.
Yeah.
They absolutely
Right.
did not. And guns were not part of their tactics.
It was
Like if
probably,
they got their hands on guns that they had confiscated from British soldiers that they picked off, Sure, but it's not like Kenyon said, they don't have a means to get like more ammunition, so they don't really have
or gunpowder.
Right.
Exactly. I was gonna say it's probably
not
a lot easier
sustainable.
to get the gun than the gunpowder.
Exactly.
So they're just like using like earlier, like the hand-to-hand combat, like knives and.
Well,
Yeah,
they don't have a giant colonial power
Nope.
shipping them supplies.
It's literal guerrilla warfare. They're
Yeah.
just they're very skilled fighters. So British hunting parties were mostly made up of British soldiers who were very easy to see. I mean, they're primarily white, although a lot of the Brits did recruit like enslaved or recently freed Africans to also fight on their side. And by recruit, I mean like extort.
Force them.
Yeah, force. But they were easy to see. They also were in uniform. Like these
Right.
uniforms are
heavy, bright red.
Yeah, heavy
red and white.
Yeah, it's
Have your
they're not
gold
blending in.
shit all over it.
So while the Brits would be like scouring large stretches of jungle seeking out the Maroons were so good at camouflaging themselves that they could watch these soldiers walk like within inches of them without the soldiers seeing them. And British soldiers would document the jungle coming to life and chopping their heads off.
Oh,
Which is like the most badass fucking thing I've ever heard.
maybe
that's
you
how it
could
felt to them.
leave then.
Right. Because they
God.
would
And I
let
do kind of feel bad for some of these, because these British soldiers, it's not like they're wealthy either. War sucks.
I mean,
Hot
war
take.
sucks, but I'm not going to feel bad for
No,
I mean,
white
if
colonists.
we're
Yeah.
boiling it down to ideology of both parties, then
No.
I'm definitely on the side of the Maroons here.
But like, it
Talking
sucks to
about
have your
an
head cut off.
individual, just all these
Yeah,
individual
but, like, if you- yes.
costs of war.
there, a life is a life. It doesn't matter whose.
Sometimes
but-
it matters.
I mean, if it's like
So Queen Nanny also
You know what I'm
guided,
saying?
also guided the Maroons in, taught them how to make small undetectable fires so that her soldiers could cook and sustain in the jungle without being detected.
That's cool.
mini fires.
Sorry?
Mini fires.
Yeah, just little fires and then how to cover them. Basically making little ovens.
And hide
So
the
that
smoke,
smoke
and
isn't-
everything. Yeah.
Exactly. Isn't just flowing up. She also taught her soldiers slowed breathing practices so that British soldiers couldn't hear these soldiers even, again, if they were coming within inches of them at either in their hiding places or camouflage.
That is fucking badass. These
It's
are
so
fucking
badass.
Navy SEALs
Yeah.
I was
hanging
thinking
out. They're like green berets in the fucking
Mhm.
Jamaican jungle.
the word that leapt to mind was like Buddhist, almost like meditation. But
Yeah.
then obviously I don't
mean,
want to
that's
attribute
essentially what
Buddhism
they're-
to.
Yeah, that's what they're it's like meditative breathing that's slow and
It's like using your mind and your intentions to kind of control your bodily, your limbic system.
totally. That's
It's so interesting that we both went to these badass female military commanders in history.
yeah.
Well, we don't learn a lot about them otherwise.
No, we don't.
I've never heard of Queen Nanny, and I've never heard of Yashka.
So Queen Nanny's tactics were so good that many rumors began to spread of her use of magic to imbibe the Maroons with such skills.
She must be a witch.
Exactly. It's been suggested that Queen Nanny was a practitioner of Obi, which, quote, is a system of spiritual healing and justice making developed among enslaved West Africans in the West Indies. Obi is not a rigid set of practices in the way that we understand organized religion. And historians attribute the naming and definition of these practices to white colonizers, particularly law enforcement, who wanted to demonize traditional spiritual practices of African peoples. Quote, different Afro-Caribbean communities use their own terminology to describe the practice, such as spellcasting. Among the Jamaican Windward Maroons, Obi is similar to other African diaspora religions, such as Palo, Santeria, and Hoodoo, in that it includes communication with ancestors and spirits and healing rituals. Nevertheless, it differs from religions like Voodoo and Santeria in that there is no explicit canon of gods or deities that is worshipped, and the practice is generally an individual action rather than part of a collective ceremony or offering.
Yeah, she's probably teaching them meditation and basic yoga.
Well, she was like an herbalist. She's a spiritualist. She's a healer who's using the items in her environment. Yeah.
Well, then, of course, like Western-born Christian people are just oh, it's Satan.
Right.
I don't get it.
Shit.
She's connected to her ancestors and the earth and is a fucking badass, military
strategist.
Leader. Must be a witch.
Mm-hmm.
There are lots of incredible legends about Queen Nanny, and here's another one. Legend has it that Queen Nanny's spiritual practices and deep connection to her ancestors is credited with saving the Maroons in 1737 when, quote, at the height of the Maroon resistance against the British, Nanny and her people were near starvation and she was on the brink of surrender when she heard voices from her ancestors telling her not to give up. When she awoke, she found pumpkin seeds in her pocket, which she planted on the hillside. Within a week, the seeds grew into large plants laden with pumpkins that provided much-needed food for the starving community.
A week? Pumpkins take forever to grow.
That's what you don't believe? Not that she woke up with pumpkin seeds in her pocket?
They take
but
a
that the
lot of
pumpkins
water,
grew so
too.
fast?
It's apocryphal. There's
It's a legend.
Right.
It probably didn't happen this way.
Right.
I mean,
She had
I'm into
the
it. Either
foresight
way.
to plant some pumpkins, and they came in handy.
There you go.
Yeah.
To this day, one of the hills near Nannytown is known as Pumpkin Hill.
Love it.
There are also legends of Queen Nanny being able to literally catch bullets with her bare hands, which sounds bonkers, but is actually a developed art
She
form in
didn't
some
wear
parts of Africa.
gloves.
I'm
Didn't
sorry.
wear gloves.
What? That's a real thing?
Bullet catching is like a thing. It's like an art form of entertainment.
Okay, they're not automatic rifles.
No, it's
they're
muskets.
not pistols. It's
Right.
muskets. It's a musket.
It's way
ball.
slower.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's physically actually possible.
1,000%.
Not easy.
Not for me.
Exactly. So
I was
there's
trying to pick up a dead fly earlier with my fingers. I couldn't do it. Let alone a live
bullet
fly.
catching is
let alone
not
a
in
bullet.
Lucy's
None
future.
of us are prepared for the rigors of the boiling cauldron of war.
No, I just got this eyeliner done. There's also
just
Fade
did
in
my
the
nails.
sun.
yes. There's also a bit of lore that is one of the most absurd and kind of amazing things I've ever heard. That Queen Nanny could catch bullets with her butt and fart them back at soldiers.
Oh,
Clearly, this was a British twist on Queen Nanny's skills as a fighter and
this sounds
possibly
like kind of
her real
racist.
ability to catch bullets with her hands, but the Brits were so fucking butthurt that this woman was consistently destroying them over the course of decades that they had to spin some vulgar bullshit about her.
Also,
But whether-
bodies of African women
Yeah.
with a larger backside, like the focus on the butts of
it's
African
racist,
women.
it's misogynistic,
Yeah.
they absolutely created these stories to
Right.
strip her of her humanity and
Right.
and
But because they were fucking afraid of her.
because they were terrified
Right.
of her because she's fucking unstoppable.
Right.
So own it. Sure, I'll fucking fart bullets back at you assholes. At the end of the day, you're gonna end up dead.
Yeah. Enjoy
They're
that
Enjoy.
losing
Enjoy.
their
bullet.
way.
Yeah. So, much like Queen Nanny's birth, her death is also shrouded in mystery, though Captain William Cuffey is credited with shooting and killing Queen Nanny in 1733, allowing for the final capture and abolition of Nannytown by the Brits in 1734. Quote, others said that the British had not destroyed the Maroons, nor did they kill Nanny. She and some of the survivors took refuge, it is believed, near the Rio Grande in Jamaica, end quote. When Maroon leaders signed a peace treaty with the British that we talked about earlier, the one that's not great, but ended this 19-year war anyway, part of the agreement was a 500-acre allotment of land, which was referred to as New Nannytown and is now known as Moortown. Those who believe in her survival say she lived there until old age, dying peacefully of natural causes around 1750, which is what I'd like to choose to believe. Another Maroon legend, and possibly my favorite of them all, claims that if any straight-haired white man goes to the original Nannytown, he is immediately struck dead.
Okay.
So
Well,
that area is sacred.
stay the fuck out.
Stay the
So-
fuck out.
Did Queen Nanny have a hand in your grandmother's like education? Or
I don't think so
rearing?
because they
Slightly
were like
before
ships
her
passing
birth.
in the night. Yeah.
Yeah,
They didn't. They missed each other by less than 100 years.
1917.
I feel like your grandma
Well, no,
gets
more than
older
100 years.
every time we talk about her.
I know, right? No, but it's true. So whichever, end of Queen Nanny's life you choose to believe, she is regarded as a hero in Jamaica and is still honored to this day. Her face appears on their $500 banknote, which is the largest note in circulation in Jamaica. And she was also given the honor of, quote, Right Excellent, which is a rarely awarded heroic honor in Jamaica. Currently, there are only 7 such heroes, and Nanny is the only woman.
That's so cool.
Mhm.
Look
Here's
at
to
her on
you,
that
Queen
bank
Nanny.
note.
Isn't she so badass? And then I put
only have
the
a tiny bit of wine
banknote.
left.
I put the banknote and some art of Queen Nanny on the drive for the blog. It's
The
just
banknote is super badass.
so gorgeous. And so there's one, I think I don't know if, there's a painting of her with a horn and then pumpkins.
Oh, Queen Nanny.
And a
Mhm.
statue.
Beautiful.
So beautiful.
Mhm.
I love all the art of her.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah. I like her in the pumpkin field.
Mm-hmm. And that like amazing black and white warrior queens.
Mhm.
Drawing is so fucking good.
Yeah.
pumpkin
I love
With
her.
her horn.
Oh, there it is with the baby.
God
I'm a-
bless Queen Nanny. Rest
I'm
in
a
power.
fan of Queen Nanny.
Oh
Mhm.
yeah. Well, very cool. Never ever knew that story because of our limited white supremacist colonial upbringing.
Yeah.
Cool.
Me too. Well, I sure hope you liked that clip. If you did like that clip, make sure you are subscribing to our YouTube channel, leaving us a nice review, and joining us on Patreon for even more video content, audio content, salacious content all around. Come join us. Treat yourself.